Hey Amanda,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm Sam is double booked, so I'm just gonna take minutes for this meeting just so you know why I'm here.
Oh, okay, that's good.
I just randomly go in and out of change management meetings just for the heck of it.
Just for fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God. Go.
Hi, Sherry. Hi, Jason.
Hello, how are you doing?
Oh, hello. Good. Hi, Melissa.
Hello.
Hi, hi, Regine.
Hello.
Day is like a rocket. I don't know if anyone else is having that, but I'm just like, I'm having
Okay.
like anxiety. Um, like what is it called? When you can't function, you're just like, Gah! And you have to do 10 things and you can't decide and you just,
Analysis
yeah,
paralysis.
there we go.
Yeah,
What I'm doing. I'm like, what was I doing? Oh, right, I need this before I can do that. And I have to talk to that
yeah,
person and book the meeting. And yeah.
yeah. That'll be the state for the next few weeks.
Right, I know. I'm just looking at booking a demo for report request maintenance next Thursday. So
Oh,
this is one of those things where I want to send out the job aid, which I believe I have sent out to many people, but um I just want to send it out with the asterisks that we're still building the distribution in the system with the physicians. And so in here I talk about maybe I'll just share my screen actually. So in here I talk about the distribution types that you can filter by. So like if you work in lab, for example, you don't want to see the ones that HIM is taking care of. So you can filter by the lab distribution and facility, and then they just get that sort of condensed list of just lab at their own site. Um, but again, I just want to star that these names might change, and it is missing anatomic pathology. We actually have four, but at the time that I made this, I didn't realize that we had four. So I'm going to send it out with that caveat that once we build it and everything, I'm going to try and keep this naming, but I want this updated to have that fourth piece, which will also include lab. So, but
perfect.
yes. So we're going to do the demo. I'm going to do the demo on Thursday, Thursday morning, and we'll record it. And then we'll send out the job aid, and you guys can actually have the recording as well for future reference.
Okay. That's this Thursday?
Next Thursday.
Oh, next. Okay.
And then I know there were a few things. Did we end up getting an agenda, Lizetta?
The agenda is just welcome and open forum.
Okay, so I know Regine had mentioned the unavailable physician, and so we've had a lot of discussions about that with a number of groups lately. And I think, when I spoke to Vinny, I asked him, can we put the unavailable physician on the inclusion list? Um, which is the list that we're building right now to send faxes out. And so essentially what we would do is that physician is already built in the system, so we can add it to the list. And then when it fails to fax, which it will also flow into report request maintenance. So we're thinking that's the best way to tackle it because people are already going to be in there working with the failed distributions in terms of like it went to the wrong fax number perhaps, or the fax number has changed and it's not working. And so they're already looking into what the correct fax number might be and trying to resend those faxes. And so this is just another piece of that where they'll have ones that come up as unavailable. They've added the new name of the physician, so they take that information, they look up the fax number, and then they distribute it. And then they send us a ticket so that we can actually build the fax station. I see your cogs turning, Rajan. Is that?
I'm just trying to understand from the perspective, okay, so the only way we will be notified is if there is a report in the field fax and doesn't have a physician email attached to it.
So registration will
Sorry,
use
email,
that
fax,
physician.
yeah.
Yeah. They'll use it if there is nobody built in the system that they can find, or, probably a lot of the times it'll be a very complicated spelling and they're just not spelling it right and they can't find it, something like that. And so then they enter in the information, and then it kind of goes to HIM or switchboard, whoever's doing it, lab, to be looking at that and troubleshooting and saying, okay, this is the new physician, what is their fax number? And then these things don't go into that queue until the results have been verified anyways. So we know at that point the report is available. So then it's just a matter of saying, okay, what's the fax number? Faxing it ad hoc, and then following up with Lumio to get it built out.
So how does that physician get fixed back in that patient's chart?
I don't know that it does.
So
Like,
that's
I guess would it
problematic
need to be?
because the person did tell us who their physician is, right? It was
Yeah,
our
true.
inability to add that physician, right? So
Okay.
that's why I was trying to think these things and come back, like, that's why I was asking for a process, because I think we need to have something in place. That's why, so that we can go and fix then the primary care provider, right, in that patient's
Yeah, like
profile.
update it.
Yeah.
And
So
would it make sense, Rajan, though? Like, if lab is looking at their own failed faxes, would it make sense? Like, so, let's say that lab is doing their own, they put in a ticket to Carrie. Carrie builds the fax station. She responds on that ticket to say that the fax station has been built. Like, it probably wouldn't make sense for them to have to go in and do that
No.
change.
So do we know if every organization has one model or different models? Like for KHSC, we are looking after the failed fax for lab, for DI, for other reports. Like, is every organization doing that? I'm just trying to.
So I feel like I don't want to. Like currently at Brockville General, each of those areas looks after their own report distribution. So I would want us all to look after our own failed faxes, and that's all. So I don't want to have to be responsible for all the rest of them failed, because that's already going to be a new workflow, right? Like
Right.
us, it'll be a new workflow of having to monitor something like this, because we don't have an auto fax now. We don't have an auto fax. So everything goes out by HRM and or paper prints for that. So I don't have to monitor a fax failed anything. So that's already going to be a new workflow. I certainly don't want to be responsible for looking at it for all the rest of the areas.
Do you mail out reports?
Yep.
Okay.
So looking forward to not having to do that, but
Well, I don't say that yet.
yeah,
Because
I know.
if every physician is not on the fax, right? So, but that's something else I wanted to bring up, and I don't want to take away from this conversation. Is there a way? So not Jody. Amanda, is there a way that when this unavailable physician is getting created, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it goes to you guys, right?
Yeah, it'll come through to Carrie.
And you guys will be able to know will it give you guys the detail on which patient? Which physician was it?
Yeah, like I think we'll need to build some sort of extra wording or something for the people managing the queue to say when you send a ticket to us, we need this information.
Right. And then you guys would know which organization, right?
Yes.
So is it possible that that it gets flipped back to that organization somehow, that so that we know to expect to update that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the best way we could manage it.
Yeah, like once, I mean, in the beginning, it may be more, but once it's stabilized, I'm guessing there shouldn't be that many people, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, like we could certainly do that. Just send an email back to the site that it's affecting and just say, this is the new physician. Can you please?
Yeah.
And I believe all the HIM staff have access to the registration conversations to do that.
yeah, and then I think we need to create like a job aid or a process for this so that we know what we are doing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, I think we as sites need to provide an email address to you folks where you can email us to say, or forward that email that you received so that we are aware and we can go fix it after the fact, right?
Yeah, I agree. That would be great. And maybe that's the answer too, is we just,
Yeah.
if we had like a centralized distribution, then we don't even have to like worry
Yeah.
about who it's for. We just pop them in there and everybody knows.
Exactly, so that you know that you have to send it to this address for this site, then at least somebody's getting aware of it and they can update the PCP once it's created.
Okay.
Like
So
right
was that
now, we have like we already have an email address, which like something like physician updates, which we are monitoring because anybody who wants a new physician added sends an email there, and that's how we add the physicians then. So
okay.
I don't know the processes at other sites, but I'm thinking that we need to have a process for this, how to handle this.
So who would be the appropriate people to send that email to? Like obviously we can include yourselves, but I'm sure there's somebody that's actually going to be going into the system. Do you want it to go directly to them or?
So for KHSC, I'm going to give you our KHSC, like the physician update email. And
Okay.
and there are like people already assigned who watch that email address and who update the physicians.
Okay.
So
Perfect. Yeah. And I can just
so you
create a
just send it to
distribution
that.
list with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then the other sites need to see what their process is right now and where should it come, right?
Hey, Tanya. So just to catch you up, we're talking about the unavailable physician. So I think we've mapped the process as far as Lumio builds the fax station. So it gets dropped into the report request management queue. The person who works that queue looks at the physician name, gets the fax number, sends an ad hoc fax, and then sends Lumio a ticket to build the fax station. And then from there, we're talking about Lumio then following back up with HIM to the appropriate person that can go back into that record and update the physician name. So if you, Jody, do you know off the top of your head who might be the person, or can I just put you?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, currently we just message IT. They tell us when we do it back, and I go back in. Like whoever called IT usually is the one that goes back in and enters it. It's not any one person. Usually in our IT department, it happens relatively quickly. But yeah, I mean, we don't have any group emails that I can share really, so,
Mhm.
yeah.
But Jody, IT doesn't update the patient's chart, right?
Nope, that's what I mean. So whoever
Yeah.
submits the help desk ticket, they get
Oh.
notified back and then they would
Okay.
go in and enter it, right? Like for us, like unless it unless, a ER registration submitting that ticket in the middle of the night on Friday, it would usually get dealt with same day. So it's not typically a big problem. I worry about that with it being a regional solution or resolution. But yeah, because I don't even like it's more of, I feel like it's more of a reg thing, which isn't me, but also impacts HIM, which is me. So yeah,
Mhm.
but it's fine.
And I mean, I think that's fair too, Jody. You know, if it makes sense that it should go back to someone in registration who does modifications after the fact, then maybe that's the email you give to me.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I probably would.
So-
I would probably say, because Rachel looks after registration, ER registration, admitting and outpatient registration. So it might make sense that it's her and she can task her team.
mhm.
So just to clarify, so we're going to do the ticket. Lumio's going to add it, right?
Yeah.
Then they're going to respond back saying this is added now. So go in and update the physician's name in registration. Like, where are we updating the name?
Yeah, so it would be in the registration conversation. So it's exactly where, and I can show you, it's exactly where they put in the unavailable physician. They're just going to go in, erase that, and put the proper physician.
And the ticket needs, like, I'm just thinking, right now, our registration would, during regular hours, would pick up the phone and call our help desk. And then help desk usually puts the ticket into their ticketing system. But so do we want to train everybody that they need to? I guess it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as long as because we're going to ticket our help desk. Our help desk knows it's going to have to go regional. So whichever way doesn't
Yeah.
matter, I don't think. Okay.
Yeah. Well, maybe what I'll do instead of putting everyone on the spot is just ask if you can figure that out for your own org, and then let me know what the email address is, and then I can create a distribution list so that once we build the fax station, we can send it out to everybody. Because we're also talking about that too, Tanya, is rather than determining an exact facility, we just have one list, and every time there's an update, we just send it out to the whole list. Go ahead, though.
So you would just notify everybody that there's a new doctor on the list?
Yeah,
Is that what?
yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, I'm just thinking
Yeah.
that one through. That one makes sense. So sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Too many things going on at once. So this comes back to the team lead, or sorry, for me, I was thinking the team lead. And then they would go in, they would update it in the registration. Are we assuming that that document has been sent some other way, or do we still need to do the document?
Yeah, so at that stage, all to get into the queue for it to fail in the first place, the results and all the documentation have to be verified. So they've already been completed if they've made it to the stage where they failed. And so then when they get that and they get the physician's fax number based off of the updated info from the reg clerk, they're going to send that ad hoc. So there should be nothing left in the chart to send off.
So who is sending that ad hoc? The people who found it.
Yeah, no, the people who are monitoring the queue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And do we know, like, have these, we talked about this in HIM. I just don't know. And I know, Regine, you said that you guys monitor all of it, but like, do lab people and x-ray people, like, do they know that anything failed will fall to ACU and who's responsible for what? Do we know that? And it might be just internally. I need to follow up internally.
I think it's each internal org decision. Yeah.
I'll check in with Michael.
So they're
and,
falling to different queues?
No.
There's different distributions. So there's four distributions. There's like a general health records, which is basically all clinical documentation, lab, diagnostic imaging, and anatomic pathology.
Okay, so, okay, good to know. So then if I say I'm only monitoring the clinical documentation, like the HIM one, that's the only one I'll see. And there's a separate one, regardless, like there is a separate one for lab and x-ray. And regardless of whether I then take that or they monitor it, it's separate and it won't come all into the same queue.
Yeah, so I mean,
Okay.
so it does all go in the same place, but the filtering that you use will eliminate that. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, our contact would be Diane Bootsma for that, and it would be a
Okay.
clinical records function, not a registration.
Okay. Thanks. Okay. And then I guess, so my takeaway then is to update the job aid with sort of the additional parts of that process from Lumio and then back with the distribution list. And then everyone else's takeaways is just to give me the email address of the person that I should be distributing to. Gosh, I don't know. I guess prior to next Thursday. And then I think I saw that we wanted to look at the ADT discharge report. I'm just trying to think. That was on my app bar. Okay.
Holy, is that all the apps that are available? Not that it's any of my business, but man.
This is why our brains are all frazzled.
Well, that's
Wow.
got CERT and prod and
Yeah,
likely
true,
train on
true.
there too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's 4. There's cert, prod, build and train.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll just minimize that because
Scare us all. Yeah.
So I think it was, yeah, this guy right here. So when you pull up your app bar, you can put Discern Reporting Portal on your app bar so that you have it handy.
Sure.
And I think Starlina followed up with Janet Schaefer in reporting to see about getting access to those business objects.
Thank you.
I tried it out this morning actually, and it didn't work.
It didn't, eh?
No.
Darn. Sorry, it's thinking about it. There we go. Okay. So then, yeah, so then when you come in here, it's just called ADT discharge report. And you can find it by just typing ADT and it'll come up in the list. And you want the registration one. And the first time that you do this, if you star it, then you'll always have it in your favorites.
And this will work for somebody from HIM running it?
It should. I looked up the access and it says that you have it. So maybe, give it a try. I know Lisa ran it during IT
Okay.
and she was okay. So
I've run this one and it was okay.
okay.
Thanks.
And then yeah, when you run it, it asks you to put in the parameters. And I think it's pretty straightforward, right? Like depending on what queue you're monitoring or what you code, you can put in the specific stuff that you're looking for. If you're doing it for everybody, then you can put everything that you code in there, your own facility, and then how far back you want it to go. And then you just run it.
Are you in CERT running this, Amanda?
Yes.
Okay.
And for the category, you were under registration, right?
Yeah.
Just anybody in prod, just if you're looking, you might run into an OMF user group.
Mm-hmm. Not
I don't know what the difference is.
And I did send, I don't know, did I send out the job aid? I know I popped it in our SharePoint. So obviously when it comes time and you forget everything like I do, you can just pull that up.
The fact that this is showing everybody, like, it's just because you picked everybody, right? Like, clearly I don't want to look at the discharges from Kingston, so I don't want to see them. I just have to make sure I don't include them.
Right, exactly. You just filter it for your purpose.
'Cause it looks like it's so like based on, like when I was expecting to look at this and see like oldest discharge date to the newest or vice versa, whichever it might be, but it looks like it's all over the map based on location. It starts again at location or not even 20, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you're
From
right. It
lowest
is
to-
sort of a jumble jumble. I think you can export it. Let's just see. Save, export. So you could put it into Excel and filter it out if you really wanted to. I know
was able to filter mine just by LACGH, by inpatient, by. So I was able to do that in prod.
Without exporting it to Excel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So back,
I
I
get-
just put, when I picked facility, I just picked
Yeah.
LAC.
Yeah. Okay. And that's probably fine. Because again, just the exporting and not playing around, like we've
Yeah.
said it before, but there's an expectation of a skill set that doesn't always exist everywhere. Right. So,
Yeah.
Sure.
I know. I think we're about to run into some very
Yeah.
interesting privacy conversations.
Okay, so is everyone cool with that piece then?
Amanda, is there a list that can be run for day surgery patients?
Let's see. I want to close it out. I don't know if
Encounter type.
Okay.
So in live, there is an encounter type of day surgery.
I don't even have access to prod.
Is that using that
Interesting.
same report, Tanya? Or a
Yeah.
different one? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, thanks.
Oh, okay. So you're just filtering in the ADT?
Yeah, I'm just filtering. So if you go in there, right, and you run it, then you can literally filter. So go down to encounter type, and you can move those back and forth and make it whatever you want it to be. So you can take all the emerge day surgery, right?
That's great, thank you.
And then they have to do include.
Yeah.
And then under facility on the side, same thing. If you do the little thing on the side, then you can change. So you can move them all back and only move your one over.
Yeah. It's like Quinty. I'm not, did we ever, this is the same, this 4 thing again, or are these all your sites? 5.
Those are all our sites, yeah.
Oh, okay. It's empty, but
And it might be the date range, right? Because you ran a month or more.
But yeah, this is the one that we did run during IT, just so that we could quickly make sure that everything fell into the task queue that we were expecting. And Lisa, I mean, Lisa's amazing, but she grabbed a list and she went through it like nothing and was like, yep, everything's good. So
So this is a discharge list. Is there something similar like ADT for admission?
there is something, but it's it doesn't seem to be what we want. Sorry, I just kicked myself out. And I think that's the one that opens up those business objects, right? It's like admissions and discharges. That's the report that we're having trouble getting to. So I think it's this one. And then there's some ROI productivity reports in there.
Amanda, let's try the admission and discharge. Let's run it.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. But yeah, it's
Type in username HIMMGR. Password Lumia with a capital L. Cert. That's what I put in the email, so it should work.
yeah, worked for me.
Yep. So from here, you're gonna on the top left, you want to click on query.
Weary.
Parameters you have, the ones that are in that has an I are the ones you have to satisfy mandatory prompts. So once you click on that, on the right, you have your filters. So select facility, it's already selected. So say you want to see KGH, or, yep, then, your just want to click run. So the first one, you have your instructions, and then next you have a tab that says summary that gives the summary of the report generated. Well, that's a brand new location, so I don't know how much information you have in there that you've entered as far as your parameters.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to click query again and try like KGH.
I don't love how
Refresh.
You're gonna have to do the little
Reset all.
query thing again.
Yeah. To the
Okay.
bottom left. Oh, yeah, there you go.
Oh, reset all. Okay. There we go.
Scroll down and find Kingston, KGH. So, yeah.
I was gonna say if I do LACGH, because I know Melissa's a busy bee in there, maybe there'll be something.
Well,
Maybe not
KPH is in the
prod.
middle.
Well, there might be a few in prod.
I think I'm in cert.
Oh, sorry, cert.
Um,
Flipping around too much.
I know. Okay, let's try.
So I've been doing the downtime testing also for test patients in our prod domain. And I just ran that ADT discharge report for those patients and it looks good.
Good. Okay, so this is giving you basically a count.
We need the if you click on it, there's no hyperlink.
Yeah, to
No,
expand data.
this report, I don't think it gives as much detail, but next to summary, you have encounter type, which gives a little more detail on what encounter types. And then next is financial class. And then next is medical service.
Yeah, we're gonna need the chart number. Because if we get a discrepancy, we've got to figure out which one it is,
Yep.
find out whether it was an interface failure.
I would
Yeah, I
want name
think-
and MRN.
Right. I think that discharge one is going to be better for that. Do you have anything that that would activate as, a coding task from admission? I think they're all on discharge.
So
Inpatient?
I should have something for inpatient that
Oh,
activates
inpatient.
on
Has
admission
inpatient.
for concurrent coding.
Right.
But even outside of a coding queue, like just for validation for the first few days, like I want to know who is admitted and did that information come into WinRex? Like admission and discharges and, like is information flowing? So,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I have to eat
Registration,
now.
I
So
do see it in an inpatient admission report as well.
There is one in here, Starlina, or?
Yeah, you can click on the reporting portal tab. Click on registration. Drop down your categories. Scroll down and click registration.
Okay. And then sorry, what was it called?
It's called inpatient. Scroll up. Inpatient admission report. Yeah, let's see what that provides. I'll fix it. Yeah, I think it's a business object. Yeah, it
So
looks
it's
like it
account
gives an
again.
account.
Yeah.
Can you go back to your reporting? So you have 118 reports under registration in CERT. In prod, I have 57.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so
Okay.
I think she's under a different position. And I was told that like under my role and position, what's available here will be what's in prod eventually. There's still some reports that they have that they're testing that it has not been published yet. So there are some number discrepancies there.
Right. And I'm in as my DBA too, so that gives me access to everything. I don't see that they actually have any. So they're saying there's 56 HIM. Okay, so we have EMPI reports in here. Combined reports. Do you have all of these ones, Tanya? Do you see a bunch of HIM ones? No?
Just a second. HIM. I see HIM. I have 0 of 46. HIM reports, I have 0 of 41. Did you want me to show you my screen?
Sure.
It's over there. I can almost do this. Where's it? So this is me in prod, right? So, and I'm the HIMS manager privacy, right?
Yeah.
So it's looking like I don't have access to a lot. If I go down to registration, the one that you were on before, I have 1 of 57 available. That's it. That's all I have available.
Wow. Okay. Right. Yeah. Because mine is showing 56 of 56 for HIM.
So it's like they haven't been activated in prod yet.
Yeah, I know they're still doing a lot of cleanup, and the ones that are there may not be the ones that will be in prod officially.
Which is hard for me because I'm starting to get all kinds of questions, of course, with the decision support piece, right, on my plate too. I'm getting all kinds of questions about reports, and I can't even go in and play in them because I only have the HIMS access.
Yeah. And is that Janet, Starlina? Like, does she have
Yeah,
a sense?
that's Janet. Yeah, that's Janet.
Yeah.
Yeah, she told me that they're still working on the ones that are public are the ones that are, will be published, but there are some that are still in process of them making. So it's not official. We don't have the official list yet, but I know the logins will be communicated sometime next week.
Okay.
So a
I wish I
takeaway
could-
from that would be to find a proper admission report.
Yeah. Because it looks like the HIM ones do include like quite a few sort of registration based reports that, yeah, like I wish I could let you see them all and poke around in them and let me know so that I could open the access. But I can definitely at least go in and see if I can find something good for admissions that's very patient specific.
Yeah, I can take that as a takeaway.
Okay, awesome.
I have one thing that I want to try to finalize with the group, if you will, is the excerpt that I am to submit for Lumio as far as scanning documents and so the cutover process. I've sent the email out to you all to review those to see if that process will be what you guys will be doing in your organizations, or if you have a individual process to have that defined and reply back to the email. Only had one reply.
When did you send that? Sorry. Just so you know, there are so many emails flying around that I am way behind.
Yeah,
I'm in
no
the
worries.
same boat. Yeah.
Yeah, and I understand. I have it pulled up here. Basically, as far as that cutover, clinical cutover, as far as the scanning documents as is concerned, we have a process of the paperwork for straddle patients. At discharge, you guys will be scanning all of those into the new system, or will you guys be, or is that a different process for each org?
That's the straddle patients during cutover that you're wondering about the scanning?
Yeah, for this, yeah.
Okay. So like the downtime procedures and things like that?
Yeah, what are we gonna do with the documents, the
Sure.
downtime documents and the
Okay.
straddle patients? Yeah, they just need a process of how we're gonna handle those
Oh,
documents
sure. Okay.
and getting them in the system.
Okay.
Nothing too defined as far as, the actual workflow, the process that you guys will be doing, but we just need, what, what we will be doing as far as scanning.
Yeah. We'll probably file that in the patient chart and scan at a later date. But I can reply to your email.
Okay.
Great.
That affects Darlene. Is there something called historical being built? Or
Historical document, I believe Brianna said that there's a historical doc type, but I would have to look in that, on
just
the
to,
list to confirm.
yeah, like it's not for current, but what I'm anticipating is 6 months post go live, a year post go live, somebody comes out of the closet, documents, and your legacy system is read only by that time, then you still need to store that somewhere, right? So
Yeah, Rajan, I'm working with privacy and Amy because we're looking at trying to lock those old records. And so I do have some insight. I guess they are bringing over all of the legacy information and it's being stored in one encounter called, I think it'll be called Hospital Umbrella. And
Okay.
so everything is in that one encounter, all the documentation.
okay, yeah. So as long as something is being built in that regards.
So say that again.
So
Yeah, same.
yeah, so they're migrating data from your, I guess, legacy systems.
We are migrating 2 years worth of data from our legacy system.
Yeah, and
That's
so
it.
they're putting it's only 2 years back. Okay. And they're putting it in like as one encounter. So it'll
Correct. They're
be
putting into
and
under a historical counter.
Yep. That's just what I said.
Okay.
Seven.
So I would recommend as record staff, we do not consider that documents that are being migrated for release.
Yeah, that's right.
Because during the move, changes have been made. They may not look the same format. They're there as clinical reference only for the physician. Your source of truth is your old system, which records, my understanding is records will be the only areas retaining the ability to print from those old systems.
That's the same approach that we're taking as well with the historical archive.
Yep.
That's good to
So
know.
we'll not be
Thanks.
scanning into those historical
Right.
accounts.
Yeah.
Well,
We won't be scanning into the legacy application, but what resides in the legacy application will be in read-only format and eventually fall to just him.
yeah. So we will be continuing to use our legacy scanning system because of it's also linked to our long-term care. So we still
Right.
have to use it. But any scanning go forward for our inpatient visits will be on Cerner.
In that historical account, correct? I just want to
No,
make sure no
no,
one's
no, not
scanning
in
that
there.
historical account. Yeah.
no, the historical account is only going to be used for data migration.
So that's why I was saying if somebody comes out a year later with documents dating, let's say 2023 and 2025, and by that time our legacy system is not there for scanning, we need to still do the scanning of it somewhere to store that information. So kind of need a plan for that. some kind of a folder then in the new system so that we are able to scan and put it there that, yes, this is, the documents.
So for us that don't do scanning currently, that would live in paper in our chart. And
Yeah.
I think for me, I'd have to think about what the document is on whether I would want to scan it into Cerner and put it into a, totally drawing a blank on what we just called it, but the historical visit.
Yeah.
Or whether I just throw it in the paper chart with the rest of what already lives as paper.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think it would, I don't even know that this is
And
the
it
right answer, but I
depends.
just feel like it would depend on what it is. That it
Yeah.
was, like if it's clinical documentation and has value for ongoing care at that point, then maybe I scan it in. If it's,
So we do that. We did that for our historical charts that were not scanned. I'm talking 1990s. We
Yeah.
did that for anesthetic records only because they bring out information, right?
Yeah.
They need to know. So we actually did the exercise of just taking out anesthetic records and scanning them.
in. Mhm.
What another thing we do is if we're not doing it actively, but if a patient, if mostly like WSIB is looking for these audiograms, these, it seems to be quite a bit now, from your 90s or whatever data, right? Or visits, right? So knowing that, we don't need to pull it again and there is an active case going on somewhere, we usually just end up scanning those things so that they are there for long term. So I don't know, so stuff like that.
Do you recall, Rajan, if there was a discussion about that? Because I'm just, my first flag that goes off is if people were to scan in all of their historical records, it would take up a lot of space. Especially like when you're talking about 90s, like I'm wondering about your retention periods anyways there. And then, yeah, because I think obviously maybe Tanya, you know more about this, but you obviously landed on a 2-year period for a reason. So I'm just
That was the
wondering.
clinical decision. That was
Okay.
the clinical decided that they needed that. It was pared down from 4 years to 2 years, I think, because of the volume of data transfer that was going to happen. If I remember correctly, there's been so many moving pieces. But that was a clinical decision on what to move, and that is just to make it easier for the physicians that go live. That's all that information is there for. My understanding is that we were expecting no historical stuff to be scanned into Cerner, that it was go forward only.
That's what I thought too.
And I can't remember where I heard that. Maybe this group, or I'm not entirely sure. I'd be lying if I said I knew where I heard it. But my understanding was go forward only, which is why we've kept our scanning, our archived one open, so that, we need it for long-term care, plus anything else that needs to go in there, we can put in there and it doesn't end up on Cerner. As for the retention, that varies amongst organizations. We retain everything, right? Some organizations have only decided to retain clinically relevant documents, right? Documents that are needed beyond 10 years for healthcare, right? An aesthetic record, for example. For us, if we ever went to do that, we've parsed out our discharge summaries, our admission history and physicals, our ORs, and our pathologies, and our anesthetic records. We've parsed them out when we scan. So if we ever need to purge, at least we would keep those, because those we consider clinically relevant documents beyond 10 years. So that's kind of what I've done in my historical system. My understanding is Oracle retains everything forever and ever. Amen.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Hello, you guys. I'm sorry. Little situation with my mom that I gotta go tend to. I apologize. I have to drop off, but I resent the email. If everyone can respond with your processes. And if yours is the same as someone else's, I'll combine it and give out the final draft. Do you guys have any more questions on that?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's just for the cutover process and what we plan to do with our scan doc.
Thanks, Darlena.
Thank you.
Okay, so did that answer your question then, Rajan? That
I don't know. I think I still feel like if we cannot scan anything historical, that that is going to end at some point, right? Like it has to end at some point because that's not reality. That's the way I look at it. So
And-
whoever made that decision wasn't checking with the right people.
Right. Yeah. Well, surprise. So the other piece of it too, Rajan, and this is a project that has been on the table since the beginning, but has never gotten off the planning stages, and that is the archive, right?
Yeah.
We were looking at having a regional archive where I think they were looking at using that for that scenario.
Right.
But that's been deferred till optimization sometime. I haven't even heard rumblings of it. So hopefully we will still be able to add information into that archive. But I don't know. It all depends on the system they pick.
Right.
So I guess that's something I maybe I don't know who is on that team from your group. It's been so long. Sorry. I'd have to go back through my
Yeah.
emails. Maybe Rod would know.
Yeah, he was on some of those meetings.
I know. Do you remember Jason who was?
Rod, I know Shay might have some insight on that too,
Yeah, true, Shay.
because he's involved with the Quadramed side of things. But Rod and Shay, be a good start.
Okay. Thank you.
And again, that so far that's a project that's just kind of hanging out there, not moving.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But if that's a requirement that you need, then we have to make sure that that goes into the RFP, right?
Yeah.
Because it has not been procured yet, to my knowledge.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, guys. I will take it back and see where I'll end.
Good luck.
Good luck.
I know.
all right, all well. 11:58. That's our time.
Super. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.